One of the most important hookah accessories, if not the most, is the hookah bowls. The strength and the taste transfer mostly depend on hookah bowls. And today, let's talk about the hookah bowls and go through this interesting theme step by step. Hi, my name is Boris and this is Hookah Time. Let's go. Before starting, we have to understand two important things that will help us in this video: the heat capacity and thermal conductivity. Heat capacity is a measure of how much heat energy a material can store. The more the heat capacity, the more energy the material retains. More even is the heat distribution. Thermal conductivity refers to how well a material conducts heat. More thermal conductivity, more easily heat passes through. So, while choosing hookah bowls, there are two main things that we have to pay attention to. First is the form of the bowl, and the second, the material from which the bowl is made from. Talking about the form, there are two main forms in the hookah bowls. There's the funnel with one hole in the middle, and the straight flow with a few holes on the bottom. And the straight flow bowls themselves we can share into like killer and Turkish. Also, in modern industry, there are some bowls that like hybrid. For example, that's the ST and hooligan. Both depends on form, the strength, and why not the taste transfer. Talking about the strength, the lightest one is the funnel. Here is one hole in the middle, and smoking process goes from top layers to the bottom step by step as the heat takes the nicotine from the top layers of the bowl and the heat strips to the middle hole. Straight flow bowls are with a few holes on the bottom, and the heat strips to the holes through the whole mix, evenly heating all the blend. So the nicotine is released more quickly, so they are for stronger sessions. What's the difference between the Turkish and killer style bowls? Turkish bowls, or even called classic, actually my favorite type of bowl, are lighter than the killer bowls. Because of this form, and as usual they are thicker, here you get smooth heat transfer from top to the bottom, and heat comes out easier from the down part of the bowl, and you get comfort smoking process. Killer bowl doesn't mess around when it comes to nicotine extraction. With its flat and usually thinner bottom and straight walls, you get here more even heat distribution. It delivers full nicotine extraction quickly. It's a strong and intense bowl, but because of its potency, the sessions tend to be shorter. It maintains the harshness for longer, but the flavor dissipates faster compared to the Turkish style. So, if you are a fan of 3x bigger clouds and stronger heat, the killer style is the way to go. But if you prefer more flavorful experience, the Turkish style is the way to go. But not all killer bowls are stronger than Turkish because there are some more affecting factors. So let's go over them. One affecting factor to the strength is the wall thickness. Because of the heat conductivity. The thinner the walls, the more easily heat passes through, but also it cools down faster. The same is for the bottom of the bowl. The thicker it is, more heat it keeps in it. The next affecting part of it is the length of surface of the bowl, closer to the HMD. As bigger it is, more stronger your session will be. For example, compare these ones. This is bigger, yeah, and this will be more stronger. How affects the leg of the bowl if it is thinner or if it is thicker? The thinner ones will be stronger, but the session will be shorter because the thick ones keep the excessive heat in it, and the thinner ones take the all heat into the bowl where the tobacco is. And one more strength affecting factor is the quantity and the length of the holes on the down part. Let's compare this. Here you see bigger and smaller. With smaller holes, the tobacco heats up more intensely, allowing the stronger blends to reveal all their flavor. With wider holes, more temperature is gone while inhaling, preventing the bowl from overheating and the tobacco from burning. What about the taste transfer? With the smaller holes, the taste will be more bright. About the taste transfer, funnel or straight flow. Here, of course, wins the straight flow because the heat comes down through the whole blend. Okay, we talked about the form, now it's time to talk about the material of the balls. Let's forget about the stone, glass, metal, and even silicone and ceramic balls. The best material for the hookah for sure is the clay because they have the most suitable thermal conductivity and the heat capacity. For example, the silicone low thermal conductivity and low heat capacity, so it doesn't keep heat well, will not work especially for medium to stronger tobaccos. Here, the tobacco heating up not from the walls but straight from the top, from the coals. And as usually, to the end of the session, you will notice that the tobacco wasn't smoked to the end and the down part is still wet. Metal or glass, although models made with these materials may differ with their elegance and beauty, their performance characteristics are not the most advanced. They tend to overheat more easily and distort the flavor of the tobacco because they have very high thermal conductivity. Why did I say let's forget the ceramic balls? They distribute the heat unevenly and they are not considered one of the best options for hookah use. But at some brands you can enter their website and see announced ceramic. They may mean glazed, but the base is still clay. And also, let's not forget that the glaze and the ceramic are also made from the clay. Why did I say the clay is the best option for the hookah balls? First, optimal thermal conductivity, not as much to burn the tobacco, not as low to get heat. Second, optimal heat capacity, allowing evenly heat distribution. And third, it's entirely eco-friendly with no harmful emissions during the heating. How clay balls are made? They may be unprocessed. This is how the balls were made years ago, like Egyptian balls, but they may have clay taste with your smoke. Now in the modern industry, they are made like milked and put in an oven to prevent much porosity and unwanted odors. And third, glazed. So what's the difference between the clay balls and the glazed clay balls? Generally, glaze has more thermal conductivity compared to clay. Glaze, often made from materials like silica and other minerals, can conduct heat more efficiently. On the other hand, clay balls has lower heat conductivity because they are less dense and more porous. About the heat capacity, clay generally has a higher heat capacity than glaze. Since clay is more porous and less dense than glaze, it can absorb and retain more heat energy before its temperature changes significantly and gives us more even heat distribution. Glaze, being glass-like and denser, tends to heat up and cool down more quickly, meaning it has a lower heat capacity. Also, there are being balls made from white clay, which have more thermal conductivity. As glazed balls have more thermal conductivity and as they reflect the heat, they heat up faster. But there is more chance to overheat the tobacco, so be careful with the heat. But there will be difference if there is glaze from only inside or there is glaze from outside too. If there is glaze from both sides, here you will get less heat. About the taste transfer, you will get more taste on the glazed balls. The clay balls are porous and they absorb the syrup and you get less taste. If you smoke the same flavor with the same ball many times, you will get much more taste. What about the ball capacity? It will not affect the strength, it will affect on the smoking time. And bigger the ball, less likely to overheat the tobacco. It's better to leave clay balls in a hot water for 20-30 minutes on your first smoking session after purchasing the ball to avoid the clay taste with your smoke. Another tip for you is about the color of the ball. Here it was a white clay ball. This was very beautiful the first day, but here what it became after a few times of smoking. And remember, the balls are consumable items and they need to be changed after a few months use. Here is how interesting could the topic about the hookah balls be. My name is Boris, and remember guys, It's always hookah time. See you next time.